One man rides a motorcycle solo 22,500 miles from Miami across North America to the Arctic Circle and then all the way back again. The Arctic Ride for Dreams was an idea that I had, that I wanted to do something that would make people stop and think, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Taking a moment to step out of your normal daily life, where quite often we're cynical or we're a little fearful of other people. We go to our job, we come home, we shut our door, we watch our TV. The outside world is an unknown, and sometimes we're fearful of that. Taking yourself out of that, following your passion, in this case, jumping on a motorcycle, traveling all these miles, meeting all these people, connecting with them, get out there and discover that people are beautiful and life is beautiful. And, you know, we're one race that live together, and it really breaks down barriers. It was also a fundraising journey. I was raising funds along the way for various charities. I was challenged to do various things, and if I did those challenges, people would promise to donate to the charity of their choice. One of the challenges I was given was to take a photograph of a bear catching a salmon. That took me about 4 days to complete that. I was riding my motorcycle through the wilderness of Alaska trying to find bears. I couldn't find any anywhere. I took the bush plane out into the Alaskan wilderness, landed on a lake, traipsed through the forest, surrounded by grizzlies and black bears, and eventually got the shot of the bear catching the salmon. In fact, a lot of bears catching salmon. I've only had one motorcycle in my life. It's a Triumph Bonneville. This was definitely not a bike designed to take to the Arctic. It was absolutely fully loaded, as much stuff as I could get on it, including, you know, tent, frying pan, GPS, everything that I would need to survive, some repair equipment. I would sleep either using the tent or a hotel, or I would stay with various people. I slept on their kitchen floors, I slept in a priest's closet, believe it or not. I think staying in people's homes was key to the Arctic Ride for Dreams. It gave me the opportunity to spend an evening, or sometimes even up to 5 days, with a person, talking with them, getting to know them, learning about their life, their interests, them asking me, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You know, and then to say, well, I'm doing this because I want to inspire people, and I want people to stop and think for a second about, okay, what am I doing in life, and what did I want to do? What motivates me? What are your passions? What's your vocation? What's this other side of you that normally society doesn't see? A lot of them became personal friends. That's what I learned, that people are just amazing. My passion through childhood was music. The 1977 to the 1982, 1984 years was phenomenal for music. You had the Sex Pistols, and, you know, Anarchy for the UK, it was the Thatcher years, it was all this kind of change and turmoil and struggle, but it was also the time where people looked at society and questioned, why do we do that way? You've got the Richard Bransons of the world that came about, really followed his passion, but also looked at the world and said, well, why do we have to do it that way? We don't have to do it that way. We can improve that, we can make it better. And that was very formative for me in my youth, you know, through my childhood, my teenage years, my early 20s, when I was this idealist with passions and dreams and I wanted to go conquer the world. This is who I wanted to be. And perhaps the time in our 40s gives us that opportunity to step back for just a moment and say, okay, well, I've accomplished all these things that I want to accomplish, but my DNA, who I am as a person, have I fulfilled that? And can I fit who I am at my core into the life that I've built for myself? And I think that's an excellent process to go through. What inspired me or prompted me to do the journey is perhaps the reevaluation. of looking at life and what have I done and what do I want to leave as a legacy. I've always, as a person, wanted to inspire, make people stop and think. And had I done that? No, not really. I'd accomplished a lot in my career, married, child, suburban house, but had I really accomplished what I set out to do as a human being, you know, make a difference in the world? No, I hadn't. I went through the crash of 2008, 2009. It ended up in being a total, I think, of about 2 years of unemployment. That really gave me time to step back, think. You know, my greatest fears had come true. I'm divorced, my kid's gone off to school, all of a sudden I no longer have the big house and the American dream, it's all fallen apart. No job, no career, everything's gone. You know, what I feared the most happened, and it's okay. And that's extremely freeing. It gives you the ability to do a ride like this, or seize your passion. Seizing your passion, accomplishing your dreams, really is a matter of taking yourself out of your comfort zone. I knew that this was something that I wanted to do, so I quit the job. I left for 4 months. That was definitely a bold step. I really didn't have a plan after that. I was hoping that I would find a job on the road, or that something would come out of it that I would be able to do after the ride. I had no idea what that would be. I was halfway through the 4-month journey. I still didn't know what I was doing, but my job contacted me and said, hey, listen, are you coming back? Which I had to think very hard about, very hard. Do I go back to a career and a steady job, 9 to 5? Or do I continue this passion of trying to inspire others? Unfortunately, there's no money in that, and you have to live. So I think as people, we have to find that balance between career and our passions. We have to find the space for both. Quite often in our 20s and our 30s, as we're building a career, we put too much priority on our careers and we forget about our passions. And I think it's important, very important, and that's one message I would impart. When you're younger, don't put too much emphasis on one thing. Try and keep it balanced. Try and keep your career, your family, and time for yourself and your own passions in balance. Make sure that you have time for your passions. The how of following your passion is probably the hardest question to answer. And I think when we take a moment and we look at our passion, whatever it is that we want to accomplish, and we look at the big picture, so often we say to ourselves, I can't do that. I don't even know where to begin, because we're focused on the end result. And we have no idea what the blanks are in the middle. So I think it's extremely important to just have the confidence to take the first step, whether that be writing an email or having the conversation. You never know where that's going to go, you know, and it leads to step 2, step 3, step 4. The thing about following your passions is that you don't have to have all the answers. All you need to know is what you like, what you want to do, and what you can do now. That's all you can focus on, is what can I do right now to pursue this passion. The rest of it will all follow after. Just focus on that next step. Further back in my family background is my great-great-uncle, the Antarctic explorer. Sir Ernest Shackleton was one of the first people to go to the Antarctic. He was recognized in British society. He was knighted by the king. He was friends with Winston Churchill. He is now famous for his survival story because he took his men, 25 of them, down to Antarctica with the goal of walking across Antarctica. Failed. But then, when the story came to light of what actually happened there, that they spent 2.5 years on Antarctica and survived, and he got every man back alive. Could you live on Antarctica for 2.5 years? In the era of 1914, 1915, can you survive in a place that You have to hunt for seals and just live. You don't know where your food is going to come from. Can you live like that for 2.5 years? I think everybody sitting here would say, absolutely not. They did. They managed it. 25, 26 of them, and all came back alive. You can do things way beyond what you think you can do. I think this is something that's integral to seizing your passion and your dreams. From Sir Ernest Shackleton, I have the explorer, I have the adventurer, I have the fool. He was a fool as well. And from my father and from my grandfather, I have the joy of life, the sense of fun, the motorcyclist, the artist, you know. People are multifaceted. They don't have one passion. I love my career. I love advertising. I love creating beautiful graphics, clever messages, things that perhaps would make people stop and think. But at the same time, it doesn't give me the ability to be the photographer that I am, or the writer that I am, or the travel person, or the philosopher, or the person that wants to inspire. So you need other outlets outside of your career. This was the testing ground where I put my dream into practice, my passion. I went for it, I left my job and dedicated myself to my passion for a while, and came out the other side of it and realized, yeah, that's exactly who I am. Now I know my personal uniqueness, and that's what comes from following your passion, is the validation of who you're created to be, your characteristics, your desires. It really gives you a focus and definition of you as a person. If I could live one experience over again, and that's an extremely difficult question to answer because there's so many, but I think I will opt for this one, the Arctic Ride for Dreams. And the moment on that ride was crossing the Arctic Circle and sitting there at that sign. I've made it. And realizing that I rode a motorcycle from Miami and made it to the Arctic Circle is something that I'll look back and say, well, I'll never forget it, obviously. It's life-changing. It's something that always makes me smile inside. I can always look back at that and say, wow, that's ridiculous. I accomplished that. That's crazy. People look at you and say, wow, maybe I could. And I think that's my why. Inspire, question, improve, connect.